This is a story of Easter, a deliciously wicked tale of subterfuge and miracle. The story begins with an exposition of the word Easter, which is derived from Estre or Estrae, Anglo-Saxon goddess of spring and fertility. While some sources quote a Teutonic or Germanic influence, it is quite clear that the word has nothing to do with Christianity.
You don't know me, but I know you.
Estre is simply one of a multitude of spring fertility goddesses and is derived from ancient spring fertility goddesses starting from Ishtar of Babylonian times, Ashtoreth in Judaic tradition, Beltis from Nineveh or Assyrian tradition, Astarte from Greek tradition. These fertility goddesses are often described as cruel and wayward. Worship of the spring fertility goddess finds its way back to the worship of the Queen of Heaven. Here in Jeremiah 7, we note that cakes were made to appease the Queen of Heaven. Our traditions now have hot cross buns.
Make your choices.
While the term Queen of Heaven is used in the Catholic tradition to be representative of Mary, it has its origins in quite ancient times. This is Isis from Egyptian times. The term Queen of Heaven, however, seems to be derived from Semiramis, who was married to Nimrod. Both these figures either founded Babylon or had a large hand in building it up. Eusebius mentions them as being alive during the time of Abraham. However, their main influence on current times is the development of the mystery religion. From them stems most, if not all, pagan traditions, and their gods and goddesses are based on the initial Semiramis, Nimrod, and Semiramis' son, Tammuz.
Here's what happens when you lose.
Nimrod was deified as the sun god, while his wife Semiramis was deified as the queen of heaven and earth and also of Mother Nature. She was often represented by the moon or the crescent moon. It was believed that when Nimrod died, his spirit went to be with the sun, and then Semiramis later became impregnated with a ray of the sun. Thus was born Tammuz, who was the reincarnation of Nimrod. This was the beginning of the mother-child symbolism in pagan culture, who the child was the husband-son of the mother god. Here we see a few representations of that relationship. On the far left is Semiramis holding her husband-child Nimrod. In the middle is Isis and Horus. Top right is a representation of Mary and Jesus in the same role, and bottom right comes from Indian culture. Take particular note of the halos behind Jesus and Mary, which represent the sun, and harken back to the old traditions of sun worship, which was founded in Babylon. Here we find a list of gods grouped in their father-son-mother relationship. Those on the left are derived from Nimrod, the centre from his son or Tammuz, and the right are derived from Semiramis. Tammuz is present in the Bible as Israel turns away from God and start weeping for Tammuz. This weeping was an ancient tradition based on the fact that Tammuz was cut down in his prime and died while hunting at the age of 40. pagan tradition maintains that Semiramis and Tammuz came back to life for 6 months starting in spring, and there begins the spring goddess. 40 days of Lent is simply derived from the number of days the ancient people mourned for Tammuz, 1 day for each year of his life. Legend has it that when Semiramis died, she was too beautiful to go to heaven and was returned to earth in an enormous egg, which crashed and opened on the river Euphrates, revealing the naked fertility goddess whose first act was to change a bird into an egg-laying rabbit. The rabbit and the egg were then adopted by the pagan religions as a symbol of fertility. Here is Ishtar's egg with her symbol of the crescent moon upon it. The story of the red egg is even more disturbing as it stems from a pagan tradition of sacrificing a baby in the time of Easter, dipping an egg in the blood and presenting it to the respective fertility goddess. The baby was 3 months old as it had been conceived 12 months earlier at the previous Easter as a priest had had sex with a virgin. This was an ancient fertility ritual. Even the humble hot cross buns has its origins in pagan tradition. The buns were presented to the Queen of Heaven, and the T on it actually stands for the first letter of Tammuz. Here are several representations of the cross or the T before Jesus Christ, and also in Greek writing it is often used to represent Tammuz with his identification with the sun. Here's a picture of Tammuz with the typical T banded across, and the T is also seen here with a picture of Nimrod in the top left hand corner above the star. This is a cross in the middle of the sun that is also seen in other pagan cultures, such as this is in the Indian culture. So even the hot cross bun has a story to tell. So you may be asking, well, how did all these pagan traditions become Christianized? Well, it started with Emperor Constantine, a Roman emperor who in 312 AD had some sort of experience with a T in the sky which he used to defeat his enemies. He believed this to be of Christ and then went on to Christianize pagan practices. He made Christianity the official religion and converted its practices to fit in with pagan traditions. So the humble rabbit is not quite as it seems.